Sometimes when you see Mark Hamill's head for sale on eBay, you've just got to buy it. I've been dying to paint this guy. Let's get into it. Today I'll be painting on an aluminium composite panel. This is a new panel that will be available through Southern Boy in Mornington, which is one of my art suppliers. It's already been primed in white gesso for me, and I'm just going to hit it with another layer of my tinted grey background gesso, so that way I can start on a bit more of a neutral surface. I thought today would be a bit more fun if I took you through the steps of a Grisaille painting technique. That is, doing a full tonal underpainting before then going over the top with glazes of colour. So this one we actually started over in our live streams. If you haven't seen any of my live streams, they're once a week, and I've got my schedule in the About section on YouTube. So feel free to come along anytime and ask questions. I absolutely love chatting with you guys while I'm painting. So a Grisaille underpainting, what I'm going to do is start with 5 tones, so 5 different values of colour, just using titanium white and lamp black. So I'm mixing up between white and black a 25% grey, a 50% grey and a 75% grey. I'm just eyeballing it here, but you can definitely do it a bit more mathematically, either checking through grams that the paint is equally distributed or by using a reference chart. A lot of people have a little printed off guide of each of the values, so that way they can make sure they're correct. I was just being a bit rushed that day, my bad. To start off, I've got Mark Hamill sitting on the wall there, so I can just look right to the left of my easel. And I'm going to start by just doing a very simple block sketch to get all the shapes in and make sure I'm on the right size and correct composition in the middle of the board for what I want. I'm also going to map out where the major shadows are, which you can see the shadow coming off the side of the head as well as that angle coming into the head, so that way I can see where my forms are and where those different values are going to sit a little better. Now, I'm not formally trained in that. I haven't been to an academy or anything like that that specialises in atelier style painting or studio master style painting, but I have read books and things which involve working from plaster casts as a really good exercise to see form, see shadows, and really simplify the painting process down to just dark and light and worry about colour later. So this is something I'm just diving headfirst into without strict instruction, but I have done Grisaille underpaintings in my figure paintings before, so that's where this started. As you can see, I started with the darkest values and worked my way across the form. Everything here is always a bit rough, especially in the first session, but this is a painting where I know I'm adding layers and I can refine as I go, so I'm not beating myself up too much if things aren't completely perfect, and I think that's where it's a little bit different from atelier style painting, where they're a lot more precise. Go, that's one session done. At session 2, I've got 2 different colour schemes I wanted to experiment with, either going with a heavy blue overtone or a heavy red overtone. I'm using liquid fine detail and just putting in a very thin layer. So after putting in a bit of blue and a bit of the red, I decided with the chat here on livestream that the blues were the go. I've got 3 different tones. I've got phthalo blue, ultramarine blue deep, and sapphire by Art Spectrum. Now, the reason I chose 3 different blues is because they have different variants between warm and cool blue, and I wanted to be able to shift from one side of the board to the other from cool to warm. So on the left, the sapphire has a bit more green to it. On the right, ultramarine deep is a lot more fiery and intense. Now that I've got the background in, the face is looking a bit bland, isn't it? And this is where I'm going to go over the whole painting again, refining all my shapes and refining all my details, but I'm going to add a little bit of colour. So I've still got my 5 values between black and white, but I also have two more colours. I have Naples Yellow Green by Rembrandt, which is a bit cool and just adds a bit more dimension than the titanium white does. And then I've got the Phthalo Blue that I'll be using across the face as well. It's a very subtle change, and I'm going in with the same grey values to body up or add more opacity to the areas that I think are a bit thin. And then I'm also going from detail to detail, seeing if all my measurements are correct and if anything needs to be shifted. I think the main thing with this painting as I went through it, especially between session 3 and 4, is I noticed that Mark Hamill's mouth is very unique. It's got a lot of shape to it, and particularly when this cast was taken from his face, which, if anyone doesn't know, the process of making one of these is actually the actor's head is covered in basically a dental alginate. It's like this soft latexy goo that captures all the details, and then plaster bandages. They normally have straws up their nose or something like that to assist with breathing. Once it's dry, in about sort of 15 minutes to half an hour, they then peel off the cast, and then you can pour plaster, or in this case a plastic resin, into the cast to take an impression of the actor's face. They're often used in movies to create prosthetics and create costumery that fits perfectly on the face without having to have the actor there in the prop studio or in the costume studio all the time. So this one here, as I said at the start of the video, was on eBay. I believe it is a cast taken from an original cast because it is slightly malformed and it is made of thin plastic, which is a bit rarer in casts. It's not as good quality, but I could afford it, so I was happy to get it, and I've always intended to paint from it. Being just the one grey colour, the cast is very nice to light. I've got a light on the right hand side of my easel, and it's casting shadows on the left hand side of the face. So that's given me a lot of dimension to be able to create this painting, and I really enjoy how it looks like it's coming forward from the wall. The more I can refine the shapes and get the shadows shifting in nice gradual steps, the more it will get that likeness and look more and more how it's meant to look. As I was saying, his mouth in particular is the one where I had to keep going back and forth because there's a little scar on his top lip, and just the way that the lips sit is very unique and beautiful, and I just wanted to make sure I got it 100% correct. His eyebrows do look a little funny. Normally when taking these casts, actors will put Vaseline or something like that in their eyebrows or any hair, so that way obviously the plaster in that doesn't stick to the hair and try and pull it out. So they were never going to look perfect, but this wasn't about painting Mark Hamill as a living, breathing actor. This was about painting the object in front of me and, in a way, preserving that object in a different form. Here I've been filming in daylight for session number 4, and you can really see the colours a bit better. When I'm filming at night, the light overexposes a little bit, and this is something I'm battling with, but hoping the new camera I'm saving up for will fix that problem. As you can see, the blues have really moved into the shadows, and it's given the face a lot more dimension. Here I'm just working through the right hand side of the face and trying not to fiddle too much with areas that are more or less finished. The hardest part with one of these where you're painting from life is you just keep observing more and more little things and going back and seeing more every time you sit down in front of your subject, and that's where it's so tempting to continually fiddle and change with every little bit. Also at this point I've switched to a much smaller paintbrush, and that's allowing me to refine details quite a lot. I really try not to use the tiny paintbrushes until these later stages of the painting, otherwise it will take you twice as long to get around the whole subject. I'm also using a larger filbert brush with that curved tip. It allows for really smooth blends, which was very helpful throughout the forehead and the cheeks. And there he is! As part of a duo with this second painting of a skull, which you can also see in my live stream videos, these are my 2 still lives of preserving life. I've So excited to announce that these two paintings have been accepted as finalists in the Tacit Gallery's Still Life Art Prize in 2021. At the moment, the dates of the show are shown up here on screen. I really hope you can come if you're based in Melbourne, but keep an eye on the Tacit social media, so absolutely follow them on Instagram just in case those dates change due to COVID lockdowns and that kind of thing. I absolutely love how these paintings turned out, and they will be available for sale at the show. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. I can't wait to get back into live streams and doing a bit more painting developing. I've got lots of footage I still need to edit, but thank you so much for joining me in this studio. Check out my links below and have a great day. And don't forget to wash your brushes.